All right, everybody. How is everybody doing? Back with my second episode of my podcast right now. I decided to open up my camera and start filming. I am right now in the middle of a workout. I know I probably shouldn't be doing this right now. Probably should be finishing my workout, but I feel compelled right now to talk a little bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and talk my way through something right now. So right now I'm sort of working my way through something I haven't worked my way through for my entire life. I think I'll have a post out tomorrow. It's going to be a paid post, but anyone can really access it as long as they haven't used, if you're a free subscriber and you haven't used your redemption, your one-time, I don't know, it's like a unlock a paid post, one-time redemption ticket or something like that. Everybody can basically access it. And that's sort of what I'm working myself through right now. Also, not exactly what I'm working myself through right now, but ultimately what I'm working myself through right now is a bit of discomfort. It's a bit of existential discomfort. And I won't talk about right now exactly like what I'm doing. What I want to talk about right now is what the world has, the sort of relationship that the world has created with discomfort. We live in a world where discomfort is something that is to be avoided at all costs. I think ultimately this is a result of technological advancement, but I don't know if that's everything, and I don't even know if it matters right now because, well, I don't even know if I can put a finger exactly on where this all started, but that doesn't really matter right now because you don't need to know where it all started to change your relationship with discomfort. It doesn't matter to me right now in my process, in my journey to change my relationship with discomfort. I've always sort of been someone who's, I'm a very competitive person. I've sort of always strived to do my best. But we all do. It's inherent to existence. You can't really ever achieve perfection. It's not something that's tangible. It's just something to aim at. But I've still not done as competitive as I am, as much as I always try to do the best for myself. There are things that I've ran from, and I've mostly done it unknowingly. I mean, it's very hard. It's very, very hard to... All right, there is a big plane flying over right now. I'm going to keep talking. I don't know if everybody can hear me. But it's very difficult to... It's very difficult to see where you are not necessarily doing your best. It's very difficult to see where you're not going all in, where you're choosing to be... Oh crap, a bird just got it. It's very difficult to see where you're opting for safety. It's very easy to fall into a state of being in which you're perhaps not making the best decision for yourself in the long run because it's what's comfortable. But we become accustomed to comfort because we can't perpetually live in a state of discomfort. It's like there's a place for comfort and there's a place for discomfort. And, on either sides of the spectrum, there are people who perhaps get it wrong. There are people who live, obviously, way too comfortable lives. But there are also people, and I've been sort of this person before, there are people who try way too hard for superficial reasons to there's people who, it's like the hustle culture. There are people who try way too hard to, grab onto these external ends that they think are going to bring them some sort of satisfaction in life, or some sort of make them feel whole, make them feel worthy of love. And obviously that too is just as, unhealthy as the comfort end of the spectrum. So there's a place for growth and there's a place to enjoy your growth. You can't just have one. You shouldn't just have one. You need both, You need to be able to if the whole purpose of life can't just be to constantly achieve these superficial heights, because that's not just what life is all about. And life isn't only about, I'm gonna get up and walk. It's not only about being comfortable. But it is a fact that we live in a world that treats comfort as the epitome of life. And this makes it because, we are, to a certain degree, a product of our environment. You can't get around that, no matter who you are. And so the fact that we're born into this makes it very easy to fall into these states of being, these comfortable states of being in which we're overlooking something we might want to be doing, something we could do that's ultimately in our best interest in the long run, as in, something that's going to enable us to live the best life possible and become the best possible version of ourselves, and really reap the most wholesome experience as a human being possible. And so I'm sort of working my way through something right now that, like I said, I haven't addressed because it's been too easy for me. Not too easy. It's not that it's been too easy, but it's been my default. It's been my default, sequence of habits when I experience this existential discomfort. And so, by the grace of God, I don't know exactly how. I mean, I know how, but it's like for an amalgamation of reasons, for all the information. I've consumed the right information for so many years, and I've just taken note of so many little nuances. I've noticed, for example, who is doing well in life, and kind of what sort of behaviors they have, and even smaller things, inexplicable things that I can't really even put a finger on. For all these reasons, I've managed to get to this point right now where I'm at, where I've been able to see something, see one way in which I am avoiding the pain and the discomfort. And so I feel blessed for that reason, because this is really what I need to do. Oh my gosh, there's a fire truck. This is really what I need to do to level up, to get to where I want to be in life. And I think it's for this reason that it's so important to have an aim, because when you have an aim, you have a way of ordering your reality. Jordan Peterson talks a lot about this. And so I can sort of like gauge everything. I have a lot more of an effective way to gauge everything in my environment and my relationship with it, because I can see how it affects me in my relation or in my ability to achieve a goal or something, achieve my aim or get closer to, or make progress towards my aim. I see how certain things help or hinder me. And so I've been able because of this, I've sort of been able to pick up over the years on all these things that if I was just floating around in the abyss without an aim, I might not be able to definitively say whether or not something is, quote, good or bad for me. And so now I'm at this point where I have sort of realized what's holding me back. And it's holding me back for a whole bunch of reasons. And this is why I love the journey to success so much. There's a whole bunch of, someone said it a while ago, or not, it's not like a common saying or anything, but so one person I follow, I think it was like Dan Coe, said something like, what did he say? You start, a lot of the reasons people start like these journeys to success are for superficial reasons, right? You start your entrepreneurial journey because what you want is money and status and fame and whatever, I don't know, stuff like that. But in the process of, partaking in this journey, you're forced to, you have to realize along the way that, for one, you have to be in it for the journey and not for the golden chalice at the end of the, yellow brick road or whatever. But you also have to, in this journey, become something that you would otherwise never have become. You have to level yourself up. There's a reason people have things in life. It's not, that's the other thing. We're sort of made to think that people who are successful, and this is, I'm speaking generally here. It's not, there are bad people who are successful, and there are good people who are, or there are also bad people who are unsuccessful, and vice versa. But in general, people have the lives they have because of who they are. I'm not saying that is universally the case. There is certainly unfortunate, there's certainly good people deserving of a lot in unfortunate situations. Although that's, perhaps that's the part of their journey that they're in. Perhaps there's a reason, that they are experiencing what they're experiencing. But that's beside the point. The point is that one of the reasons I love, working to succeed as a writer is because it's forcing me to become someone I would have otherwise never become. I'm forcing myself to work my way through certain pains and discomforts I would have sat, I would have sat with, or I would have reverted to comfort instead of pushing myself through something that I needed to push myself through to become a better version of myself. And it's only because I have an aim. So basically, because I've had this aim, I've been able to take all of these things all of the information I've taken in and all the things I've observed in my life and my environment. I need to look at the camera more. I've been able to take all these things, and because I have an aim, I'm able to order all that information according to how useful, how valuable it is to me in my journey. And as a result, one of the things I've noticed is this one thing that I'm working myself through, this discomfort. And again, I'm going to post about it tomorrow. You guys can see everything then. I think I'll get the post out tomorrow. But the point I want to make right now is that we live in a world now that, although basically everyone and their mom would tell you to lean into discomfort. You got to do things that make you uncomfortable and shit like that. Most of these people do not walk the walk. Most of these people will opt for, not breaking themselves through, not sitting with that pain. And that's really what it is. It's sitting with pain. It's willing to be uncomfortable and letting that discomfort run its course. And I think this is really one of the main reasons that our world is so messed up today, is because we don't let pain run its course. Emotions and pain, like physical and, spiritual, mental pain, all these things, there's a reason we experience them. And we've basically, as an entire society, we've done all we could to shut them down. And I know that's like, people say that stuff a lot. People suppress their emotions and stuff. But then, I don't know. I've never been in therapy, so I don't even freaking know what people do with their emotions these days. But in general, and you can see it. And I think, honestly, I do think that the world is changing. I do think that the tide is turning. I do think that a lot of people are becoming, I do believe that in general, this whole mental wellness movement is making the world a better place. But it's still the case for the average person, because it's so difficult to do, because it's so difficult to get yourself to sit there with the pain, with the discomfort, and let it run its course and listen to it and understand it and take action accordingly. Most people just don't do it. We have so many ways to, you can go to therapy all you want. The fact of the matter is that most of our environments have so many options, so many, how do you say it? Our immediate environments provide us so many outs. There are so many ways for us to distract ourselves and move away from things that we don't feel viscerally comfortable experiencing. We're such an impatient people. And I think that the answer to so many of our problems is sitting with this. This is something that I've learned very recently. That's why I'm saying it right now. I'm not like, I know I need to work on sounding like, not like a preachy prick, because I do sound like it. I do sound very self-righteous sometimes, so I need to work on that. But I'm working myself through this right now. We need to, my world, your world, let's not even talk about society. Your world would be such a better place if you just let the pain run its course, if you just listened to it and acted according to what it's asking of you. And that's the thing. Because we do not let the pain run its course, we don't know what to do with ourselves. We're so lost because we keep on shutting down these things that ultimately act as guides, When you feel fear, I know this is like a commonly used metaphor, but I'm just going to use it. if you know you're being watched by a predator, like, if you're an old world human being and you're out in the wilderness and you see a predator, if you for some reason you're being watched, you feel fear. Oh my gosh, there's a helicopter. I think you guys could probably hear me. You feel fear. That fear is asking you, it's not exactly apples to apples here, but basically that fear is asking you, it wants you to take action. It wants you to run or fight. It wants you to do something, right? And, the same goes for, physical pain. If you do something that, you step on a thorn or some shit like that. Sorry for cussing. If you step on a thorn, you're going to oh, that hurts. That's damaging my body. What I'm going to do is not step on that thorn. I'm going to take my foot away from the thorn, right? And then you're also going to watch out for thorns in the future. And so because we don't live in such a physically dangerous world anymore, a lot of the pain we experience is, emotional and mental. But this complicates things, because what we should do, especially now because we have so many outs, so many ways to stimulate ourselves, and basically shut that discomfort down. So many of us just avoid this pain altogether, and we indulge ourselves in pleasure, and we become hedonists, and then we feel lost, and then we wonder why we feel lost. We wonder why life feels meaningless. And so this isn't exactly the answer to all of your questions here, but it's something you certainly, it's something I want to do more with my life. It's something I've been trying to do more with my life, and it's something I think that would, without a doubt, make your life better. You've basically got to stop running from that discomfort. You've got to stop finding ways to distract yourselves. Okay, I sound like a broken record here. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. So what does this mean practically? Stay off your phone. If you don't want to delete your Instagram, make it very hard to open. Put it in the last, the furthest swipe from your home screen, and then put it in a box and unfollow all those accounts that don't do anything for you, that are just distractions. Stop buying garbage. Don't have garbage in your kitchen for you to revert to the second, you have an inkling of hunger. Stop mindlessly socializing so much. The reason you're lonely, the reason you feel lonely, and I'm using this as an example, might not be because you don't have friends. It might not be because people don't love you. In all likelihood, I've never met someone who's not loved by someone. In all likelihood, someone loves you. You're not lonely. You feel alone because you have no relationship with yourself. Loneliness is not lacking external relationships. It's a reflection of a lack of a relationship within. Because every time you feel that, instead of sitting with it and instead of getting to know yourself and not just stimulating immediately with a TV show or social media, it's sitting there and being bored and being lonely and going for a walk and asking yourself, what do I want to do tonight? What What would be a fun thing to do tonight? You know, sometimes that can be with friends, whatever. Maybe, you know, maybe when you were a kid and you felt whole as a child, maybe you spent a lot of time drawing or something. I don't know. And maybe you should draw tonight or something like that. There's so many things. And I mean, not that I'm like anywhere near the best version of myself right now, but I can't imagine what some people in this country, how many discomforts that they're suppressing every single day, time and time again, every hour, every 10 minutes. God knows how many times their body is crying out to them to quiet down and listen and do something, take a very specific action, and they shut it down because it's uncomfortable and they don't want to feel uncomfortable. You know, you could literally just come, like, I'm on a bench right now. You could just come and sit on a bench and not think so much and leave your phone at home and just sit there, and you'll be uncomfortable and sit through that pain. And I guarantee you'll have more clarity than when you get up after sitting on a bench for an hour than you've had in months or years, if you've lacked clarity for that long. So many sirens. So that's basically what this talk is about right now. It's about sitting with discomfort and realizing that discomfort is actually a guide. It's not an enemy. It's the Father, you know? It's what helps you walk the right path in life. And I'm not saying go jump off of airplanes. I really, I hate flying, and I don't think I'll ever skydive. No matter how, whole of a human I ever become, I'm not jumping off a plane with a freaking parachute on my back. But for the most part, I'm trying right now to sit with the discomfort instead of stimulating my way through it and ultimately dragging myself further and further away from the life that I most deeply want and need. So, I don't know. I don't really have a lot of subscribers or anything like that, but if anybody sees this video and wants to ask a question, maybe I'll be able to help you out. Put something in the comments. I don't really know. I'm working to build this newsletter right now. I got some good things coming. I have a lot of what I believe is helpful material coming out. So if you like this video, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next one.